Michelle. Or what? It's on my credentials. I'm supposed to go back. That's the fire district.
Hey, Joe. What's my job? If there's any questions or something directed to you that I can answer. Or,
oh, right, that happens?
Yeah,
okay.
Sometimes.
Fair point.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Please remain standing for the invocation by Father Joe Ganiel. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear wise and loving Father, first let us be thank you for, on behalf of all who are gathered here today. Thank you for the blessings bestowed, that you bestow upon our township. Thank you for the ability to be involved in useful work and for the honor and bearing of our important responsibilities. We pray for the mayor and his assembled council. Grace and grant them the wisdom to govern amid the conflicting interests and issues of our times. Grant them a sense of welfare and the true needs of others. Grant them a keen thirst for justice and rightness. Grant them confidence in what is good and fitting. Grant them the ability to work together in harmony, even when there is dishonest disagreement. We pray for the agenda set before them, giving the assurance of what would please you and what would benefit those who live and work in this wonderful township. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
This regular meeting of the Township Council is being held in accordance with the scheduled meetings of the Township Council established and adopted by the Township Council, which schedule designated the time, date, and place of this meeting. Adequate public notice of this meeting has been provided pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act. We are using electronic amplifier and recording device in order to obtain a clear audio record. And we request all those wishing to speak to be recognized, state your name and address directly into the microphone. The recording device will be solely utilized by the Township Clerk's Office for the preparation of minutes and shall be the official record of the Township Council meeting. Madam Clerk, may I have the roll call, please?
Mr. Hutchison.
Present.
Mr. Owens.
Present.
Mrs. Stubbs.
She is still this week.
Mrs. Winters. Here. Mr. Mignon.
Here.
Mrs. Trotta. Here. Mr. Mercado.
Present.
Mr. Carlemere.
Here.
Mr. Cardis. Christie is here.
Ms. Eric, our CFO, is sitting in for him this evening.
Mr. Leffner.
Here.
Chief Earl.
Captain Martin is sitting in for Chief Earl.
Thank you. Mr. Cantwell.
Mr. Campbell. We'll now open up our first public portion. Anyone wishing to speak on any agenda item, please raise your hand. Mr. Polidoro.
Good evening, Council. Ray Polidoro from the historic village of Ariel. Hope everybody had a good 4th of July. On consent resolution item R1807202, Gloucester Township Arts District. Is that in reference to existing arts district, or is this a plan for the development of an arts district within that area?
The designation of having an arts district in downtown Blackwood will allow the municipality to seek out grants through different arts organizations through the state.
Okay. And I like the idea a lot. Are you also looking for private investment into that, or private money coming into that to build this up to be the
I think anything's open on the table.
Okay, it sounds like
we have main stage there, trying to expand it.
Sounds like a wonderful idea. If you would indulge me for ordinance 01810, just a quick question on that. You may not have to see me again tonight.
Well, we do have a public hearing for that. I'm going to be consistent, Ray. So I'd like to see you come back again.
I'm sure you would. All right, well, thank you for now.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Now we'll close the first public portion. Next, we have our ordinances. A second reading. There will be a public hearing for each of the 3 ordinances. 0-1808, ordinance amending Chapter 81 of the Code of Township of Gloucester entitled Control for the Movement and Parking of Traffic, on public and private property of the Code of the Township of Gloucester. This will allow parking enforcement, prohibit parking of vehicles, trailers, buses, and wrecked vehicles overnight at the property at 1409 Blackwood Compton Road, which will be known as the Royal Farms property. I now open up the public hearing. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. I entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second? On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mr. Owens?
Yes.
Mrs. Winters?
Yes.
Mr. Mignon?
Yes.
Mrs. Trotta?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes. Next is ordinance 0-18-09, ordinance amending chapter 81-31 entitled Speed Limits of the Code of the Township of Gloucester, reducing the school speed limit to 25 miles per hour when children are present along Evesham Road, County Road number 544, at the entrance and or exit of St. Teresa Regional School in the Township of Gloucester, Camden County, State of New Jersey. This is establishing a speed limit of 25 miles per hour along Evesham Road, eastern boundary of St. Teresa's property, and the right-of-way of Evesham Road on County Road 544 to the western boundary. We'll now open up public hearing on this ordinance. Seeing none, close the public hearing. Entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Hutchison. Is there a second? Thank you, Mrs. Winters. On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mr. Owens?
Yes.
Mrs. Winters?
Yes.
Mr. Mignon?
Yes.
Mrs. Trotta?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes. Next is ordinance 0-18-10, ordinance of the Township of Gloucester, County of Camden, in the State of New Jersey, adopting amendment number 1, amending ordinance 0-11-17, commonly known as the interchange redevelopment plan to permit an indoor amusement park as an accessory use. This recognizes, it's amended to add the following, that a recognized amusement park as defined by the code titled amusement devices coin operated within a restaurant or other eating establishment. And it also, there are accessory uses which are customary, subordinate, and incidental to a permitted use. Mr. Carmer, do you want to add anything to that?
The reading and your comments were fine. I just wanted to, you can open up the public portion, but I was advised by Mr. Lechner that the planning board has not met on this as yet. And you know, since this is a land use related, the planning board has to give its recommendation before you can finally adopt it. You can move forward and have a discussion if you choose, but it cannot be voted on until the planning board gives a recommendation.
Okay, then I recommend, I'll entertain a motion to table this.
Motion to table.
Thank you. On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mr. Owens?
Yes.
Mrs. Winters?
Yes.
Mr. Mignon?
Yes.
Mrs. Trotta?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Lechner.
You're welcome. We planning board is meeting tomorrow night, just so you know, here.
Next, we have our consent agenda. Any council member would like to move any of the items on our consent agenda, please speak up. Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Trotta. On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mr. Owens?
I just need to abstain on one item on R 1807-201. It's PO number 18-03243. Everything else, yes for all the resolution.
Sorry, Mrs. Winters?
Yes.
Mr. Mignon?
Yes.
Mrs. Trotta?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado? Yes. Resolution 1807-212, resolution of Township Council of the Township of Gloucester accepting the 2017 audit of the Township of Gloucester. This was in our packet, my colleagues on council. If you go to the back of it, you will see that there are no findings for the year. There will be an exit conference, is that correct? That we'll have with Ms. Eric, with Bowman.
Vacations between administration and the auditor. It was hard to get everybody together prior, and the report was due by June 30th. So instead of delaying it and being late to the state, we proceeded with the audit and we'll do the exit conference in July.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay.
I entertain a motion.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Owens. On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mr. Owens?
Yes.
Mrs. Reynolds?
Yes.
Mr. Moon?
Yes.
Mrs. Trotter?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes. We did receive two GT eGov emails. One's a question and one's more of a statement, but I'll read both. One is from Denise Durr at 137 Brewer Avenue, Blackwood, New Jersey. Her question for council: I bought my house 3 years ago. It's going on the market in exactly 3 weeks, all because of taxes. My parents bought in Valley Brook last year and paid $7,800. Retired and not using a damn thing in this township. I am talking them into selling. This is outrageous. That's the statement. The email, this is a question, from Dean Barone, 32 Blue Jay Drive, Laurel Springs, New Jersey. Question for council. Why can't we get Verizon Fios in my area? I understand New Jersey state mandated Verizon provides services in certain areas. Why can't Gloucester Township become a mandated area? Why isn't Verizon offering 100% service in Gloucester Township? Comcast has a monopoly here and has used that leverage to raise their rates almost monthly. We have nowhere to turn for relief. There is an agreement with Comcast. Comcast has a 15-year agreement with the township, but it's not exclusive to just Comcast. So if the XYZ company, I've said this in previous meetings over the years, if the XYZ cable company wanted to come into Gloucester Township, they have every right to come into Gloucester Township. As far as why Fios isn't available in certain areas, I cannot answer that. I always refer people to contact Verizon to answer those questions. But again, there's not an exclusivity contract with Comcast. So if Time Warner wanted to come down here, or Cox Communications, or Verizon or Fios, they are more than welcome to come to Gloucester Township.
And if you council remembers, Comcast comes in every 15 years, I believe, for its franchise renewal. Verizon has a statewide authorized franchise. It does not have to seek municipal approval.
Thank you, Mr. Carlbear. With that, we'll open up our second public portion. Anyone wishing to speak on any item, please raise your hand. Mr. Sweet.
Good evening, Council. Hopefully, everybody had a good 4th. Sam Sweet from Ariel.
Good evening, Sam.
Couple questions. I missed the workshop meeting, and it said the township was looking at buying 120 East Church, which is the abandoned PNC bank building.
Yes.
Is that
it's an old drive-through.
the old drive-through?
Building, yeah.
Yeah.
Like the old photo shops back in the day. Remember those?
No,
You're older than me, Sam.
I didn't move here until 04.
You work at a photo shop? Yeah. All right.
Is that in because of the art district, or is why are we looking at buying that as a township?
That's part of Blackwood redevelopment area, correct, Mr. Lechner?
Yes, and it's partly the seeking the sales price. We have to go use Green Acres funds. We're looking to use Green Acres funds, make it a pocket park and parking. That's the funding source.
Okay, all right. I just saw that. Jarvis Road. There's a project going on Jarvis Road across from Union Valley. What exactly is going on there? I know we have council on the 28th authorized it.
The township project on Jarvis Road across from Union Valley?
It was on the council agenda. Remington Vernick put in it was on council agenda from March 20th of this year. And apparently now they've cleared it away, and a lot of people are wondering what's going on with that. And it's the Jarvis Road, I believe it's Jarvis Road Associates LLC, but it went through planning, I think.
Mr. Lechner?
Council President.
Residential?
It's a 50-lot major subdivision.
Residential apartments or housing, townhomes?
Residential homes, single-family homes, 50-lot subdivision.
Oh.
Detached residential single-family homes, 50 lots.
Okay.
The old Bleecker Auto Salvage.
Okay.
Just was wondering what it was. Didn't say, it wasn't clear on the agenda notes.
Okay.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. Anyone else? Mr. Brown?
David Brown, Sicklerville, Gloucester Township. Live in, where do I live at? 5 Maple Road, whatever. It's a Mulberry Station. Yeah. They're all so many names and everything. It's crazy. One thing I was wanting to talk about was the tax increase. I know it got approved and everything. So this would be. I moved here in 2011. My property taxes were $6,800. With the 8% increase this year, my taxes are going to be over $9,000. So in 5 years was the first time we had the increase. Mine's went up over $2,300 in 5 years. And to me, that's a little ridiculous. It's pushing people out of our area. We've had 3 houses go up for sale in our neighborhood in the last 2 months. And it's bad enough we've got houses that have been empty for 3 years. But it's really just pushing us out. I've got 2 co-workers. One's been living in his house since 2000. He's walking away. He can't afford it anymore. Got another guy who's retiring in 5 years from the post office. He lives in Ariel. He bought the house. He paid $3,300. And right now his property taxes are $7,500. Before the increase. 5 years from retirement, he's walking away from it because he can't afford it. What are we doing to help these people, like myself, who make under $50,000, trying to pay these taxes?
As far as keeping their homes or trying to stabilize our taxes? Because last time we had a conversation when, I guess a few months ago in April, we talked about some of the things that, as a township, we were trying to address regarding our taxes. But that's a very broad question that you asked there, David.
Well, I mean, we're seeing more and more people leave. What are we doing to attract them? I mean, I might be leaving because I can't afford it anymore. I mean, 38% of my income goes to taxes, just for property taxes. How can you live on it?
So when you say, what can we do to attract people to stay or to come to our township? I often get lampooned by folks when I talk about our services that we have in our township. You and I walked in here this afternoon at the meeting. You said, what's going on in the park? And I said, there's most likely a concert taking place there. Let me finish. Yeah. You asked me questions, I'm going to respond to it.
Yes, sir.
That there's most likely an event, a musical event taking place there. But when it's nice weather, that park is jam-packed.
It is. There's no parking for it.
So at our meeting in April, and you were here in April, Mr. Owens went down a litany of things of service that are provided to our community. That's part of the 28 cents of each dollar that you pay to the township that's provided to you as a taxpayer from the municipality. So I'm not going to comment on what the school districts provide or what the county provides. I can only comment on what we provide. So your 7.7 increase on the 28 cents of each dollar that you pay goes towards certain things. Okay, you have police protection, you have the trash removal, you have parks, you have community things that take place through our township. That's part of what you're paying for.
Now, I know we used to get a letter every 3 months.
You still do?
I haven't got one in 2 years.
I'll make sure
I've got one from Winslow Township, but I haven't got one from our township.
I'll make sure you get one. We'll send it to you electronically. I'll send it to you tomorrow in person.
And also with, you know, it's been 4 years since our road was microsurfaced. And we found out that microsurfacing is only good for 5 years. What happens to that road then? Because, I mean...
I think we had this discussion back in April.
Yeah, and we still get no answer.
Oh, no, there was a discussion. Mr. Cantwell responded to that.
Yeah, he said life expectancy is 5 years. That was the first time we ever heard that.
Okay. And he addressed some of the issues that you had there when there was holes or pockets of when the microsurfing scene wasn't up to par. Public Works went out there. But, Dave, with all due respect, every time you come here, you mention that it was resurfaced. You want it completely redone, the entire roads, correct?
Well, that's what we were told were going to be done.
Okay. You were told that?
6 years ago. We're putting Band-Aids on stuff, waiting for the next group to come in that they got to take care of it.
But we also discussed the amount that goes along if we redid your entire streets in Mulberry Station.
Okay. Oh,
That's something that, okay.
It was $96,000 that was spent resurfacing our neighborhood, and then it was $4,000 to come back and fix the where it wasn't done correctly. And I asked, who paid that? The taxpayers, or did that company have to eat it? And I was told the taxpayers had to pay to have them come back and fix what they didn't do correctly. Why aren't we making them pay for fixing what they did wrong? I mean, that's what you do any contractor that works on your house.
How many miles do you think, if you went to your entire neighborhood?
In my neighborhood?
Yeah, mile-wise.
It's about 1.2 miles.
Tony, hate to put you on the spot. Any idea if we did the entire streets, not microsurfacing, but did a project that big in a development? $1 million a mile. You want the road done, Dave?
I'm not going to be there long enough. I'm just trying to find out why we keep putting Band-Aids on everything.
Because if you spend $1 million on your road and $1 million on every other road that says they need it done, nobody will be able to live there.
Well, it's getting that way now. Only the rich and the subsidized can stay here now. It's getting that way.
Hey, you and I rode around.
Yes, we do.
For 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah,
I showed you many a road that was much worse than your road.
And I asked, why wasn't the potholes filled? What? I mean, because I know the townships, our road was $96,000, which is 75% of the budget for Gloucester Township. With all these increases we've had in property taxes, how much of it is going to fixing the roads?
We have a capital budget that was a $7 million capital budget, I believe, this past year, where we address roads. We have a road program, and they are identified according to the need.
Right. Well, then why was $96,000 75% of the budget?
Excuse me?
Why was the $96,000 to fix our road microsurfacing 75% of the budget?
Where'd you get the 75% of the
Rosemary.
budget?
I've got it still on my phone from when she called me.
Send it to me. I'd like to see it.
It's voice.
It's still on your phone. I like you. Yeah. You have my cell phone number.
Yeah, I got it. But it's where she called and left a message.
Oh, okay.
I'll let you hear it.
All right.
That's what I'm just. It just doesn't seem like, because when she told me that $96,000 was 75% of our budget, it was like, that's ridiculous. So that's why I was asking.
David, I've been here for 14 years. I don't believe we are at a capital budget that if it's $96,000, 75% of a budget. Were you looking at $125,000 budget for capital?
I know that's why I was like, that's why I found it ridiculous. But
I think that may be incorrect.
Okay, well, that's just what I was told by the office. But no problem.
All right,
yeah,
thank you. Have a good evening. Good seeing you. Mr. Polidoro.
Good evening once again, Council. Ray Polidoro from Ariel.
Good evening.
As you tabled the ordinance, so shall I table my question on it. But however, I did have 2 other questions. One is a status update on the question that I asked at least a few times. The status of the township's appeal on the distressed property sales being considered into the comps. That had not finished out at last we spoke. I got to imagine something moved since then.
Yeah, I have not received any information from Long's office.
I'm sorry, from where?
I don't have any information. I think Chris Long office is handling those.
Mr. Carmen, can you reach out to Mr. Long and give an update for us for our next meeting on the 23rd?
Okay. That was going to be my only question, listening to Dave speak here. A question regarding the roads, and I understand that roads are expensive, the most expensive in the country to have paved. But not that long ago, the state upped the gas price by 23 cents by taxing gasoline. I know that it is a state benefit, but does any of that is meant for road improvements trickle down to municipalities where the township would be entitled to some? Because if you're talking about state, you got state roads, interstate highways, you have county roads, but municipalities, don't they deserve a cut of that 23 cents a gallon to be able to utilize that to do our road repairs, to take care of that, where it's not always taken from our general budget or general funds?
You've asked that question before. I would love to have a cut of that, but I think, yes, I saw Tony's hand go up and Mr. Campbell had to address that as well. Tony?
NJDOT puts out an annual grant to municipalities called municipal aid, and a piece of that tax went to that. Unfortunately, a lot of it went up north. That's what politics are. Some of it trickled down south, but it wasn't as a great increase as we thought it was going to be. So, but it does trickle down.
All right. Is that something that I can procure by way of Oprah, in that it's coming through the engineer's office, but what the townships take on that amount since the 23 cent a gallon gas tax, and what was the year before, what was afterwards?
I don't believe we even had a piece.
You can go on NJDOT's website. I don't know how far back they have, but you can find the municipal aid allotments.
Will it break it down by municipality that I can see that?
There's probably at least till 2016. You can ask or call NJDOT and request further back.
Calling them is ridiculous. You don't get an answer from anything.
It's only been 1 year since.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Heinball.
Good evening, Pete Heinball, Morningstar Court.
Good evening.
A few questions. The new development that was scheduled on the open parcel of land at the corner of Little Gloucester Road and Hyder Lane, I think there's a for sale sign back on that lot. Has that project been abandoned by the developer?
That for sale sign never went down.
So the project's still going forward? Okay.
No, that project was denied.
Oh.
And
I don't know what the status of that is, Mr. Lankler.
I haven't heard anything from the applicant. The project was denied, and they'd have to. They may have run out of their time for appeal. They have 45 days to file an appeal. I'm trying to think back. I think the 45-day appeal period is probably over.
Okay. So if that period is over, the project's abandoned.
That particular application.
Yeah, that application.
They'd have to amend the application.
I see. Okay, thank you. On the workshop agenda from the most recent council workshop meeting, there was discussion on the property of 44 Coles Road. I see that's a property that Gloucester Township already has ownership of. What was that discussion about?
That discussion was interest in selling that property.
Someone was interested in purchasing. That's a tract of ground the township acquired by foreclosure 2-3 years ago.
Okay, a private buyer is looking into?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right, good. Also, I noticed, I saw a list of tax court cases that were on the docket. And I saw a long list of tax appeals, property tax appeals, where Gloucester Township was the plaintiff. I guess that's the word for tax court. Well, Gloucester Township was actually the plaintiff, appealing the the assessed values, I guess, of properties owned by businesses and such in the town. Do you know about those, or what's?
I don't know, Mr. Carlin.
I would tend to think that's the same question was asked a few moments ago for the distressed properties that the tax assessor requested to appeal the assessment on those properties. I believe that's the way they lowered the assessments, and I believe that's what you're talking about.
Oh, that's the same.
It was affirmatively appealed.
So there's court date. So this.
I have not seen it.
Okay. Who do we hire to handle those cases? That's the same. Okay. So they would, if there's a court date and things like that, they would attend the court date and.
If that's what you're speaking.
Right. Well, this was a list of docketed cases where, like I said, Gloucester Township, instead of the normal thing where a resident wants to appeal their value and the resident is a plaintiff and Gloucester Township is the defendant. I don't know if those are the right terms for tax court, but there was a long list of tax court cases where Gloucester Township was the plaintiff against these businesses. They mostly were. One of them was for example, was O'Neill's, the property Mr. O'Neill tried to develop for a rehab center. That was one of the properties that Gloucester Township is the plaintiff against that property. There were some apartment complexes and some storage unit businesses, it seems, are on this list. Does that sounds like the same thing?
I can check into it.
Okay, all right, thank you. Also, the other, from the workshop agenda, Mr. Sweet asked a question about 120 East Church. The township has decided to use open space funds to purchase that property. Has there been attempts to sell it on the open market by the
Green Acres, but it's a private property, and that has been probably vacant for close to 15 years. That parcel of land. So there's an opportunity to have some parking or a pocket park leading up to downtown Blackwood. If you ever gone to the establishment next to the library, Holy Tomato, that place is packed on the weekend, and you have cars that are parked up and down both sides of Blackwood's Pike. That provides an opportunity for parking there. With the Pumpkin Festival, provides an opportunity for parking there. And also with this new festival, the food truck event that's September 9th. That's something that in the future will provide an opportunity for parking there.
Okay, so this would be for parking. That's a good idea too. Final question: the fair housing agreement that every municipality in New Jersey had to reach an agreement in the courts. I think June was our second court appearance for that. Has that been settled now?
It has been, Mr. Carlo Mayor?
Yeah, we went through a 2-day trial on the issue. There was opposition to our settlement proposal. The final hearing, the court ruled in favor of the township. So our fair share settlement plan with the Fair Share Housing Center has been accepted and approved by the courts. Now we have some compliance steps over the next 90 days, 120 days, 2-year period to meet certain milestones.
Well, basically it's a long term.
Correct.
But there are certain interim milestones along the.
Correct.
Okay, is there a document from the courts or from the outcome, an operable kind of document?
Yes, there's actually a settlement agreement that's been signed off by all parties, and that there is a court order approving that settlement.
Okay, and the township has that in their possession now. Okay, good. When a development is under consideration, and when it's decided that so many units are going to be apartments or townhomes, and so many units are going to be designated as affordable housing, what does that mean to the developer? Are these smaller units, or are these? Does the developer get some kind of subsidy for these, or what does it work when we say we're going to the developer needs to set aside 50 apartments, for example, in a large development and call it affordable housing? What does that entail?
I'll start off, and I'll ask Mr. Carter and Mr. Lechner to chime in. There are some developers that, from the top, I was on the planning board for 9 years, and that when they created certain units, all the units were uniform in size and shape, but there are some developers too that may have a project where, let's say, this apartment complex, that unit may be a little bit smaller than the other units in that particular project. Mr. Lechner, you want to add to that?
Well, I've never constructed any affordable housing personally, so but the units have to meet the uniform affordable housing code requirements of the state of New Jersey, and they're like Council President said, they might be a little bit smaller. The fixtures inside may be of lesser value. They have to meet minimum requirements, right? And they pretty much seek funding for tax increment financing and things of that nature.
They meaning the
The
developer?
developer would have to seek funding or they have to build it. And assuming they factor the cost into the market rate units to cover the cost of the affordable units.
Yeah, right. Okay, thank you. That's it.
Thank you. Anyone else? Mr. Paul?
Barris Paul, 1800 Winding Way. My question is, in this township, when there are houses that are being rented out by private citizens, are these houses registered anywhere in the township?
They are supposed to have them registered, Mr. Ball, with the township if they're a landlord. Is that through your office? Yes. Okay. So registration, what is the $100? $50, and they have to miss a one-time fee. And do they have to come back and renew that?
Do they have to renew it every time they change tenants though?
No, there's no tenant information, strictly in reference to the owner.
So then there's a database of these properties that are being registered as rental properties in the township?
We use a program called the Enforcer, so we do have all of that accessible to us. So we do have a sequential log that we have. And yes, it is accessible to us.
Okay, so there's a list of properties, addresses.
Correct. And we don't know if those properties have sold or they have not sold or what the status is, because when someone comes in to register, they've met that requirement by state law and they don't have to register again.
So this is a state law?
They're registered, but yes, that's by state statute. In order to evict, in order to start the eviction process, the first thing is they have to have a landlord identity statement. Once they've acquired that, then they can move on to an eviction process. And that's when they usually come in to register.
Okay, so is this list just exclusive to you?
Exclusive to me?
The township only?
Available to the public? Is that your question?
Correct.
Sure. If you wanted a list, it's a running list from 2008 because it's only required one time. So it's an ongoing list from 2008.
Okay.
But yes, there are ways that we can print that list out. And that does not mean that that list is accurate, because again, that doesn't mean that people come in once they sell it, or, there's any type of situation of change with the property, we're not notified. So that is not 100% correct list.
Yes. The other part of my question comes to on-street parking. And it is my understanding that there are vehicles that over 3 tons aren't allowed to be parking on public streets. That is the code of Gloucester Township.
Overnight.
Yes.
Correct. Okay. I see a bunch of trucks, trailers left on the street that are clearly over 3 tons, turning into a trailer park.
Are they in your neighborhood?
They are in our neighborhood. Yes.
Cherrywood.
Cherrywood and elsewhere, yeah.
I'll be able to check overnight, sir.
Okay, thank you, Captain.
Okay. Some of the streets are getting very crowded with the parking, and some townships up in North Jersey are implementing parking permits. Is there anything of that nature that might take place here in the future, maybe?
That's not something that I've considered, or the police department deals with traffic safety, or a community has considered. There are permits that, if you're in certain residential communities, such as apartment complexes, or where I live in Valley Brook, we have assigned parking, and there's overflow parking. But
that's private.
No.
Valley Brook is private property. Is that am I understanding wrong?
But the roads are dedicated to Gloucester Township.
Okay. Because I saw a sign there that says no soliciting in Valley Brook.
Oh, there's soliciting that takes place there.
Well, I figured that if it is private property with gated community, where Tiger Woods lives, then you can reinforce those kind of rules. But if it is public, you put, I don't know. I thought that it was private then. Okay, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Carr. Ms. Carr?
Joanne Carr, Timber Birch. I just wanted to touch on a couple things that Dave Brown had said. He was concerned about the people that are losing their homes or whatever. Is there a protocol in place where if someone comes to the tax office and says, I'm in trouble, is there something that is being done or can be done for people who are in trouble?
I'm not aware of that. I know that we have, through our CDBG, our Community Development Block Grant money, we have New Jersey Housing, I think that's the name of it. Excuse me? But there's a program that is run. Are they still in the Public Works building next to it? Yes. But there's a group that is funded by some of our CDBG money that provides counseling on someone, individuals that have issues with maintaining their home. So there's some housing counseling that takes place there. I don't know if you went to the tax office and said, I'm having a problem keeping my home, if they're going to cut you a break and say don't pay your taxes. I can't answer that.
No, I was just wondering, but do they tell them about these things that are available to them for assistance?
I'm not quite sure. I can ask.
The only thing the tax office would say would be the Senior Freeze Program, which is through
the state.
Yes, they would direct you where to fill out the paperwork for that, and they would also talk to you because we have people that come in and fill out the PD5 forms for that program, and which needs to be filled out by the tax office, and there are the deductions for the senior and vets, but the senior one is income eligible, so those would be the only 3 programs that are available.
So younger people who are not eligible for those programs but are still in need of assistance in some way, there's no place for them to go, or?
Unfortunately, there's no laws in place for anything that can be done.
Okay. The other thought I had about Mr. Brown's comments with his streets, I've been coming here and more developments are being applied for. And I was just wondering, when those new developments go in, the developer is responsible for putting the streets in. What's the longevity of those new developments supposed to be? Like, I don't know how old Mulberry is, but they need new streets.
Okay, I'm going to defer to our engineer, Tony. What the life of the street when a developer puts in?
Depends on the traffic on the street, but if the residential neighborhood, 15, 20 years is the low end.
That's the low end. Okay.
Trucks.
Is there any way that when you're accepting a developer coming in to do a development, that we kind of push that they have better quality and a longer lifetime for the streets, so that we don't run into this more frequently?
Well, we have an inspection that takes place before that development is completed. They have to meet certain milestones to our construction office, and Mr. Lechner oversees to our engineer when they sign off on a final inspection for it. But I don't...
I'm just trying to save you headaches from people from new developments 15 years from now coming and saying, we need new streets, and then you're saying, well, we can't afford $1 million. Because they're all going to need repair at some time.
Absolutely.
But if we start out with a better quality product, it could take longer and we could work on it.
I represent a bunch of municipalities all across South Jersey, and the majority of them don't even have road programs. So they might fix one road per year for a small stretch, quarter of a mile, that's funded through NJDOT. So grass is always greener, but you guys have to think a
we're having difficulty repairing roads that we have at this point, wouldn't we consider delaying new development so that we don't just add to that list? I mean, has that come into consideration?
I have not thought of that. Delay development because.
Well, I mean, if you have trouble taking care of the roads that you have now, why would you build more roads?
Isn't that a form of eminent domain?
Reverse. So if there's a parcel of land and a developer wants to develop that parcel of land, or let's say it's a commercial property, and add to our tax base here, you're saying forego that because we have to take care of our roads?
No, I'm saying take into consideration how that is going to impact on us when those roads need repair so many years down the line. And can't we see about getting the developer to give us a longer lasting product so we don't have to deal with it quite so soon?
I disagree. Because if we had that mindset, I know you've been in Timber Creek for a long time.
Timber Birch. Yes.
Timber Birch, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Four
I'm in Timber Creek a
or
lot,
five
too.
decades, correct?
49 years.
Exactly.
Yes.
So if we took that statement that you made, there are plenty of other developments that would not be in this town.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm just trying to help delay repairs. If we have a better quality product coming in the first place, then it'll take longer. That's all.
If we have a quality product and hope that, Tony says, on the low end, 15 to 20 years, there's other developments that have had their streets there 40 plus years, and now they're starting to show their age. Mm-hmm. And there always has to be some type of upkeep and maintenance for them.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, thank you.
Can I add to that?
Yes.
Just to add more education to your question, I think that's a legislative function. In the state of New Jersey, years ago, the developers had introduced and the legislature approved the residential site improvement standards, which is an administrative code, which made all developers in the state, all towns in the state of New Jersey have uniform construction codes for roads, sidewalks, curbs, stormwater management, everything is uniform. So if that administrative code was amended to require a better quality road, then all New Jersey municipalities would benefit from it. We can't, as a municipality, decide we're going to make our roads require 8 inches of sub-base and 6 inches of heavy-duty asphalt before 2.5 inches. It would last longer, but that's not what's in the state code. Because every town used to have their own standards. And the developers complained years ago, I think in the 80s, that every town, whatever town we went to, made a difference. They just do something different. So they wanted all towns in the state of New Jersey, 566, all had the same standards.
Okay. Well, I know it was in the late 70s or 80s.
Yeah, that's where it has to be changed. If it's going to be changed, it has to be changed legislatively, so that's who you need to contact.
Ms. Carr, I just leaned over to Mr. Carver. I said, when you were downtown Pine Hill, and you're driving on that road there, I guess Branch, that's probably 60 years old, that road there. And
that's wonderful.
It probably hasn't been resurfaced, hasn't been touched up. But yes, if there are roads that need to be addressed, we always recommend and encourage everybody to contact the mayor's office and put them on our list.
It was just a suggestion. Thank you.
Anyone? Yes.
I just want to, there was another program for taxes, the homestead rebate, that is available to anybody that's not age restricted. I told that while you were talking, so sorry about that.
Thank you,
Good,
sir.
thank you.
Anyone else? Mr. Sweet? Mr. Brown, you'll be our last speaker of the evening.
Sam Sweet from Ariel. A couple quick questions. The property is going to be known as Royal Farms.
Yes.
I'm going to ask the obviously. Is it going to be a Royal Farms there? Did I miss something?
Yes, there's going to be a Royal Farms there.
Okay. When do we know when? Approximate time?
I don't have a timeline. I know it's moving faster than it was before. They have a hiring sign on the front of the property.
Yeah, their construction plans are under review right now.
Okay. Also, just because I'm being a little greedy here, I want it in the minutes. The Ariel 12-year-old boys won districts tonight, so they're on the sectionals, which will probably be Friday in Glassboro.
Very good. Thank you.
So, and sorry they beat Blackwood along the way.
That's okay.
And then the last thing is, I see that the police have a hot dog cart or hot dog food cart now for, I guess, community events.
Okay.
Since I'm in charge of our neighborhood National Night Out, can I put in to get the hot dog cart visit for that night?
I would ask you to reach out to Captain Barn. He'll put you in contact.
You can reach out to Jenna Blackmore or myself, who will assist that, but I don't think it's going to be available and done yet for that time.
Yeah, that's probably already been procured for something else, I would imagine.
Had to try.
I'm glad you're excited for 30 days from now, though.
Saw the hot dog cart. I don't have to grill then. So, all right, that's it. That's all I had. Thank you.
Mr. Brown?
The homestead rebate thing was brought up, and I would just like to answer that. Last year's state budget with the 23-cent gas tax, the homestead rebate was cut in half. So we lost half our money that way, so it really did not help us.
Okay, thank you. With that, we'll close our portion. Board of Directors?
Mr. Crolamere?
Nothing to report.
Sorry, Mr. Lechner?
Nothing to report.
Captain Barton?
Nothing to report.
Mr. Chadwell? Mr. Hutchison?
Briefly, I was riding through neighboring towns on Saturday, and as we left Gloucester Township, I asked my wife, I said, do you see the difference? Do you see the difference in this town that we're now in compared to the town that we live in? There's a stark difference between our town and the other towns we drove through. And I attribute that to this council, this mayor, and its predecessors' desire to make this a town worth living in. I do understand, Mr. Brown, about the taxes. However, that's not a problem unique to Gloucester Township. I'm a bankruptcy attorney. I've said it many a time. You know that. And I meet with people who are constantly behind on their mortgages, their property taxes. You name a town, and I've handled cases for people. So please remember, it's not unique to this town. Thank you.
Mr. Owens?
Thanks for coming out tonight, and as always, thanks to all the first responders for keeping us safe.
Mrs. Winters?
I just want to congratulate Ariel Baseball. Obviously, they're moving on. That's awesome. And I just want to recognize there were, in the last 2.5 weeks, I guess, there were 2 hockey teams that went to Canada and 2 teams that went to Slovakia. All 4 teams had Gloucester Township players on them. All 4 teams played for the bronze medal. Unfortunately, only one of them won the bronze medal. But just to recognize that those players are out there and they're representing us way outside of our area.
Thanks.
Mr. Mann?
And just to add to that, I was following their paths, and they were 1 goal, 1 game away from getting to the gold medal round, and then unfortunately they lost by 1 goal in the bronze medal game.
They did.
Thank you all for coming, and then just to add what Sam had said, I know one person doesn't win a game or a title, but one of the great stories about that aerial 12-year-old team that we were just talking about is that they're coached by a 19-year-old child, Tyler Coluccio, who played in the league. So here's a 19-year-old who's giving back to his community, giving back to the league that he participated in 7-8 years ago. So thank you all. Be safe. Enjoy the weather.
Mrs. Strutter?
Thank you all. Have a good night.
Mr. Mercado?
Thank you for coming out this evening. This Thursday in Veterans Park is movie night. That movie will start at dusk. It's Jumanji? Is that it? Jumanji? The new one with The Rock. Dwayne Johnson, excuse me. And I want to thank our first responders and our police department. Last Tuesday we had a storm here in Gloucester Township. And I was out of the area and I came back. I received a text from my sister asking me if I lost power. I said, we never lose power in Valley Brook. Yeah, we lost power in Valley Brook. In that particular area, Church Street, there was traffic lights that were out. And when I was coming home late in the evening, there are officers directing traffic at major intersections through our township. So I want to thank you, Captain Barton, the men and women of the Gloucester Township Police Department, for all that you did, our first responders, during that storm last Tuesday. Just a plug for the food truck event that's taking place September 9th in downtown Blackwood. The proceeds of that particular event, it's a new event for the township, will benefit the Gloucester Township Scholarship Committee. As you well know, they put on Gloucester Township Day. They provide $45,000 in scholarships to high school seniors each year that are attending college. So if you can, please go out and support that Sunday, September 9th. I believe the Eagles are not playing that. No, they're not, because we start on Thursday. There you go. All right, with that, I entertain a motion to adjourn. Is there a second? Second. All in favor? Thank you. Have a great evening.
Guys, I have to sign that paper.
You have to sign.
You're on it, Ken. Run it away.
Where are you at?